First of all, we're going to create a business card as part of our stationery group. The best thing to do is come up to the paper selector and simply choose business card as your paper size. To create a solid color background, just double click on the page border and that brings up your options dialog. Choose page and background and then turn on solid and choose any color that you might want to work with. Now you have a solid color background that will remain and won't move. However, I want to teach you a few different things, so I'm going to Control Z, undo that, and we're going to do this a different way. What I'm going to do is come over and select my rectangle tool, and I'm going to click on the top left hand corner and just pull down to here. In fact, I'm not going to try and size to my page, I'm going to type in the right measurements. If you just deselect, you can see the measurements of the page, 88.9 by 50.8. So select the rectangle, make sure the lock is turned off, otherwise it'll try to scale to the first size you type in. So 88.9 tab 50.8, hit enter. So that's the right size, but we need to center to our page. So I've written that down here for you, center to page. Click P on your keyboard. I'm going to give that now a cyan fill, and we're going to round the corners. Anytime you create an object with any of the tools in the toolbar, the shape tool usually will have some form of interaction with that object. In this particular case, I can use it to round corners. Click on any one of the four nodes and just pull in any direction to round the corners. Okay, back to my pick tool with the space bar. I'm going to create a duplicate. So plus on the keyboard, finger on the shift key. I'm just going to resize in a little and then make that white in color. Notice the thickness on the outside is thicker than the top and bottom. So finger on shift again, I'll just size up from the bottom a little, and that looks fairly good. I'm going to put my objects all around the page now. It always pays to place your components around the object that you're designing on, either around the outside or roughly where you think they're going to be positioned. It helps you to think through your design. Well, I'm going to place there and create an angle on the white area of this rectangle. But first, I'm going to select both of these objects, finger on the shift key, and right click so that I remove the outline color. Then select the inside rectangle and Control Q, convert to curves. Now, I'm going to select my shape tool, F10, and add two nodes. By converting to curves, we were able to add nodes and reshape this object. And I'll double click right there as well. Now I'm going to select these two nodes and using Control as a constraint, which will help me to pull down perfectly straight. If I let go of Control, it's easy to go off of the vertical, but that helps me to pull down perfectly straight. That looks good. Z for zoom, and we'll zoom in for a closer look. F10 back to my shape tool. I'm going to convert this straight section of line to a curve, so simply right click your mouse and choose to curve. Now as I pull this node down, and I'll use that white area as a guide there, notice how it forms a curve in the middle here. I might just move that along a bit and push that up just a little. There we go. I'm also going to close this curve up a little bit. I don't want it to be quite so great, and just pull that one down a little. F4 to zoom back out. So you can see I've created a curve or a nice angle for my rectangle there. What I want to do now is I want to place this piece of text on that same angle. The easiest way to do that is to right click and drag over the line of that object, let go and choose Fit Text to Path. It will always automatically shoot to the start point of the object or what it considers, but we can simply slide it back around the line. And then you can snap in and out. Just simply move in or out of the line. It'll snap to various snap locations. And you can adjust those snapping points by choosing the Tick Snap option. I think that looks great. Let's convert that to the Ruark text and make it white. A little bit bigger. Finger on the Shift key. A little bit more. And that looks quite effective, just like that. Okay, a few more steps now. I want to select all of the remaining text and convert to the same typeface, the Arial rounded typeface. You know what? In fact, we'll change the Peter Daniels to the Ruark typeface, just for something different. Let me tell you a very important rule of thumb whenever you're designing particularly business cards is try never to use more than 2 typefaces, and that way your design will maintain integrity. Okay, now I quite like that, that's good. What I now want to do, I'm going to just place that there like that. I'm going to right align everything. So I'll select everything, and on my keyboard you can come out to the alignment toolbox if you want, but what's easy is R on the keyboard right aligns everything. So I'll just finger on control and I'll just place that back over there like that. The thing I probably don't like is the stock standard approach to the address. Let's do something different. So I'm going to double click on here and then backspace so it's a single line. Now with my pick tool selected, I've got my text now selected, finger on shift, select the white background. We've got 2 objects selected now. Up to text, fit text to path. We're really doing the same thing as what we did with the hair design. With the little red node we can push the text along the path a bit further because I just want some of the numbers to go around the corner. That's good. Now we need to separate or break that text away from the path. So up to arrange and break text apart. Deselect everything and then we can pull the text down. It's still a little bit big, so we can just scale that down and that will be fine. That looks good. Pop that there like that. In fact, I think what we'll do is change some colours now. Peter Daniels and the address, let's make that a darker grey, say 60% black. And the bottom text, let's make that orange in colour. What do you think? I think that's starting to look really great. I personally would like to add a little bit more colour, so I'm going to create a splotch, like a dye splash down here, because they're a hair care company and they deal in dye. So let's add a dye splash just there. Adding the dye splash makes a lot of difference to balancing up the card, and I really like the effect. Let me show you how I created it. So I'll move over a little on the page, select the ellipse tool, click and drag and give that a purple colour. Now I'm going to select the distortion tool, which is part of the interactive tools flyout. Select that. There's a number of options for distortion. The first option is called push pull, so just push a little. I'm just trying to distort the circle, as you can see. Spacebar to get my pick tool, plus on the keyboard so that we can create a duplicate, click and drag and rotate the duplicate, and I'll change the colour so you can see what I'm about to do. Distortion tool, and the next effect under distortion is called zipper. As we click and drag, you'll notice it starts to create like a zip effect around the outside, and that's all I wanted. Plus on my keyboard again, click and rotate a little bit more. In fact, I might rotate that one back a bit. And I'll change the colour again so you can see this effect. Distortion tool. The next distortion is called the twister distortion. I'll show you this. If you really twist round, you get that really cool looking effect. Isn't that great? Well, I don't need quite that much. I'm just trying to distort a little bit on the last effect. Why have I done this? Because I want to create a very uneven outside surface. Now if I select all of these objects and weld them together using the weld option, weld uses the outline of all 3 objects and creates a brand new one. So weld together, and it always uses the lowest object in the stack to determine the final colour. So I've got a very uneven set of points, and that was what I was trying to achieve. Back to distortion, and finally push pull again, and watch what happens. As we pull a little bit further, we get what looks like a splotch. So my purpose was to create an uneven set of points that we could then create this splotch type of look. Finally, what I did over here was I actually applied an emboss effect. Well, I think that looks great. Let's take all of the components here and apply them to creating a letterhead. The first thing to do when designing a letterhead is to make sure you choose the appropriate page size. Well, I'm working with A4. You might want to work with legal or letter, etc. Now I'm just going to zoom into our business card, and we're going to do something very different. So for right now, all I really want to do is gather all the components I need, and I won't need personal details. Pop that down there. Remember this text, we need to break that away from the text on a path, so up to arrange and break text apart. I'll also make that black in colour so we can see it. I'll delete both of those backgrounds. Now these 2 pieces of text have been altered, and I don't think we want them that way, so quickly finger on shift, select them both, up to text and choose straighten text. Now that removes the effect of text on a path. Now I'll just pop those down there or up there out the way. Well, we're going to design something very different because our customer, they actually send out a tremendous amount of letterheads and they don't want to spend too much money. So dropping back to a 2-color print rather than our typical CMYK 4-color print is going to be cheaper. So how do we design around that? Well, let's start from scratch. A brand new concept. Select the rectangle tool, click and drag, and this time I'm going to go with a different color. I'm going to choose something like this baby blue. It might not be that at the end, but that's what we're going to start with. Right click to remove the outline color. You've got to be very careful now to try and think only 2 colors. The logo. How do we work with the logo? Well, I'm going to copy that down here, so copy here. We'll break that apart or ungroup. So we'll ungroup that. Let's take we'll take that and pop it on top over here, say. What can we do with our logo? Remember, the logo is got lots of shading in it, so therefore there's going to be lots of colors. So what I'm going to do is select the logo and up to effects, and I think we'll clear the effect. So that'll remove that bevel effect. Let's increase the size of it. And I'm also going to combine the whole thing together, because that will force it to be one color and I can't slip up and accidentally have one piece a different color to the other. So I definitely know I'm working with 2 colors. Now pop that on there. What if I stretch that out a little, pull it down a little, like that? I don't mind that. I think that looks quite good. Okay. In terms of the address, we'll pull that here. Now it disappears underneath because it's on a lower stacking order. So Shift Page Up brings it to an upper layer. In fact, we could put that down underneath. That doesn't look too bad. Stretch that out. Even stretch that one out. Or maybe alternatively, pop that one on top and that one underneath, and we'll make that one white in colour. Might shrink the logo down a little, and I might shrink the height of that a little. There we go. That looks a bit better. And we'll stretch that out some more. Make the address match. That looks good. I quite like that. So we're working with 2 colours. Because that's white, of course, it just means nothing will print in that place, and that's why you'll see white. Hair design. Let's pop that over here and see what we can do here. Again, Shift Page Up to bring to the top of the stacking order. Let's zoom in, and what creative thing can we do with hair design? Let's make it a little larger, and we might do a half-half. So what I'll do is I'll make that white in colour, and then plus on my keyboard, and then I'll make that blue in colour, and I'm going to crop away the bottom half. So select my crop tool, over the top, and just down to there, double click, and there you go. That's a half-half effect. That's pretty easy to do, wasn't it? That looks quite good. Okay, so F3 zoom back out, or Shift F4 zooms to our entire page. We don't need that anymore, but we'll take our splotches, pop them down the bottom, and just increase the size a little. And of course we don't want that colour, so what does baby blue look like? Not so sure I like that. Or we could just go with the orange, of course, and that doesn't look too bad. So again, up the top, excellent. I think that's a really easy design, and we've done that fairly quickly for you. Make sure you watch the next video, because we're going to discuss some actual mistakes in here for going to 2-color print.